Yeah. And, it was very important that, you know, we know our history and that we're teaching our real history in our households. That's where the love is at. You know what I mean? Because we get this information, out of lack. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be no lack. Ancient principles was to storytell, to tell stories and to pass down stories to your kids. You know what I'm saying? And then their generation. And then it's like, hey, my great granny used to tell me this story, about this old witch doctor. You know what I mean? And she said her great granny passed it down to her. This is how we keep our culture alive. It's loving that. You know what I mean? It's loving that. Whatever, just as a writer, I don't really embrace myself to the world as a writer, but I am a writer. I write all the time. And so as a writer, the things that you write about are typically things that you care a lot about. You know what I mean? So if you care a lot about, like, you study people like Jay Rogers, and Jay Rogers was talking about, really dismissing this whole idea of racism and pretty much saying that, like, and we wasn't just slaves. You know what I mean? We were emperors, we were regents, we were kings, we were queens, we were empresses, you know what I'm saying, emperors, we were sultans, you know what I mean, we were papas, we were princes, we were savages, we were noblemen, you know what I mean. We were every chess on the chessboard, every piece on the chessboard. You know what I mean? And so that piece of history has been taken away from us. You know what I mean? We were builders, we were mountain builders. We don't hear about that. Like, we just hear that Jesus was a carpenter. We didn't even think that Jesus, so we got it so bad that we indentured servants, and allegedly, and meanwhile we hearing stories about Jesus being a carpenter and a teacher. You know what I mean? And what was he teaching? Well, if he was in Kemet, you know what I mean, then that means during his time he probably was learning Latin. So was Jesus teaching Latin? You know what I mean? Was he teaching Amharic? You know what I mean? Like, if he was in Jerusalem, and then this was after Jerusalem and Sheba and Solomon had Menelik, you know what I mean? And this was after Yusuf, you know what I mean? And the story with Yusuf is Yusuf was in Canaan land, so that means he was a descendant of Menelik, you know what I mean? And then he came back into Egypt, and then he tied with his empress, and now Jacob was like, now my descendants will be the Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? These ancient Canaanites. You know what I mean? Now my descendants is going to be these Egyptians, and now they got ties back to Ethiopia through Menelik and Shaba. It says that it was a long line of queens before Sheba that ruled over Ethiopia and Meadow. You know what I mean? And so this is really what the love story is about in the biblical times. But we reading it from a religious standpoint. You know what I mean? We reading it from religious law, and technically, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? If that's where you gain your guidance from, but you can take those same principles and look at historical archives of, you know what I mean, your family in these different counties, you know what I mean, in the different cities, and the archives, and the library. Today I was in the library, and, I put in, just imagine this is, Egypt, right? And I'm growing up in Egypt, or let's say Jerusalem, You know what I mean? And I'm growing up in Jerusalem in modern times, 2022, Anio Domini, you know what I'm saying? Anio Domini. And so, like, it's 2022, and, you know, this is the place where Jesus walked. Jesus walks with me, with me, with me. So it's like I'm going and I'm studying the stars and the moon is out right now, and the sun is out right now, and the moon is in the Virgin, and she's passing into the scales. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm studying this, and I'm studying law because the moon is getting ready to go over into the Libra, Libri. So I went to the library, you know. So, like, you know, when I was up there, I was just standing and just observing all of the stuff that they had up there, you know, and it's so interesting, man. Like, they had like one of those railroad nails that's about this long and about that thick, and they got the head that's about that wide. Now, I used to be a carpenter, you know what I mean? We used to use the 8s and the 16 nails to build stuff like these. Yeah, I used to build all of these, you know. I did everything except level the foundation. Once they leveled the foundation, that's when we came in. You know what I mean? And we built that's the boards on there is called the OSB. So we put the OSB, and then we put this wood protector over it. You know what I mean? We installed the walls and the roofs and shit. You know what I mean? So, anywho, not on this. This is back when I was in North Carolina, the Northern Republic of the Carolinas. Shit. So, you know, when I was in the archives today, you know, the lady, she asked me if I needed help finding anything, and, you know, I keep it short with them. You know, I could say that the Most High got me. The Most High is my God. The Most High is my librarian. But I didn't say that. I said, no, I'm fine. And I didn't even really know what I was looking for, so what I'm going to tell you. So, she's like, okay. So I go over, and I think the first book that intrigued me was The History of the Coca-Cola. And I already knew a little bit about the history of Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? Like, you can't mention Coca-Cola without mentioning Chattanooga, because that's where they got the bottle. The guy, he drove from Chattanooga to Atlanta and, you know, pitched the bottles, and they thought he was crazy. He said, let's put the Coke in the bottles. So, you know, I'm looking through that, and then I start seeing the Bouvier dictionary, and it's dated 1870s and shit. So I'm like, man, let me look at the terms they got in there. The first thing I'm looking at is Bill of Exchange, and those definitions are like pages long. Habeas corpus is like 5 pages long. They have Bill of Exchange. I look up Bill of Latin. I look up endorsee. I look up the endorser. I look up Cherokee Nation. I look up Indian Nation, the Indian tribes. I look up they didn't have American, but I looked it up. And so, you know, I'm looking at all this shit. Then I see historical records from North Carolina. I see about the Charlotte Gold Mint. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I literally was just doing a live and shit about this shit here. And so, you know, when you go over to Africa and do this amount of research, you get grand titles like grandmaster teachers and shit like that. But I've been putting in this work in my backyard for years now. You know what I mean? Years. And niggas just still want to go over there. And they don't validate anything over here. It goes right over their head. You know what I mean? They just think that the main thing that's hurting our people is that they think that, first of all, They think that the government runs everything, which it don't run nothing. Its sole position is to protect the rights of the people. That's the sole position of the government that's enforced here. That's the sole reason. You know what I'm saying? So these artificial platforms has got our people delusional. They're wondering why they can't help them, because only you can help yourself. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, only you can help yourself. You know, and then we got this misnomer that we were just slaves who were brought over here from Africa, but we don't even know what nation from Africa we came from. You ask somebody, okay, you came over here as a slave, but what country in Africa did you come from as a slave? You know what I'm saying? And then if you say Liberia, then you say, oh, well, Liberia was right here in North Carolina, in Shalom. You know? So, really, technically, right, you did come from Africa, but that's the Africa, this clay, this mud. You know what I'm saying? This to, you know what I mean? This clay will tell you. This clay will tell you. It will. Today I seen somebody that looked like my grandfather. My grandfather was like a dark copper, but it was golden. His skin was golden, but he was a dark copper, and his eyes were blue. And when I seen the guy from afar, I said, man, he looked like my grandfather. I didn't even see his eyes. And when he got up out of his wheelchair, he looked at me in the face, and I said, wow, you look just like my grandfather. I said his name was Gordon Q. Slade. Yeah. And so that's powerful. It's powerful. And so the lady, she come up to me at the library in the archives, and she's like, oh yeah, we just want to, if you could just put the books that you pull off the shelf onto this cart, because we just are doing a survey of what people are checking out and looking into. In my head, I said, I will not. Nigga, I was like, I will not. I said, I left that whole shit. You know what I mean? Because it just threw off my whole frequency. But, you know, I said, no, I'm good. Because I was really done. I had been in there for like 30 minutes. And then, you know, my son and my empress were downstairs in the kids area. So I was like, let me go check on my family. You know what I mean? You know, so it's like they're not used to Nagas coming up in the historical archives. Meanwhile, I got my book in historical archives. You know what I mean? At my alma mater. So I got the right to go look in the archives in the different libraries across the nation. Yeah? I didn't even tell them that. I didn't even need the nerve. I didn't even have to, you know, communicate that to them. And so, you know, we don't do no real research over here. And so what's happening is you got people like Jack Weatherford, who's pretty much beating us to the case. You know what I mean? He's the one that's doing the ground research on our people. You got the author of The Jew and Negro, who's a European from North Carolina, who's doing this research. You got John Blair Publishing Company in Shalom, who's doing this research. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, we are on the block smoking Newports. You know what I'm saying? Destroying our lungs. You know? We out destroying our liver with all the liquor that we drink. You know what I mean? We can't even remember the night before because we got so drunk. speaking from experience, by the way. You know what I mean? We out here chasing women that don't even want us. You know what I mean? So it's like we don't put in time to look into ourselves. You know what I mean? We don't chase our soul. We don't chase our soul. We don't chase after our soul and recapture our soul. You know what I mean? And there's so much history that's here. It's like the ancestors is waiting on you. The stars is waiting on you. These little birds is waiting on you to discover you. That's it. All of the nations is waiting on you. They waiting to hear these stories from you. They waiting to hear these experiences from you. You know what I'm saying? And so we've been really programmed into this white world, and in this white world, they expect the Negro, right? The Negro, the nigga, the nigger. You know what I'm saying? They expect you to be a good boy and to be working for somebody who can take the job away from you. They want that for you. They want that for you. That's what they want. That way they can talk over you. You know what I mean? But when you tell them that you're your own power attorney, yeah, you're the power attorney of your life. You're the trustee of your life. You're the trustee upon your life. You have authority over your life. Don't nobody have authority over this life except your mother, who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name on earth. Yeah. As it is above it. Yeah. They don't want that for you. They don't want that for you. They don't want you learning Latin. They don't want you talking to them in Latin. They don't want you talking to them Mokolima. La Bolaku. Balai Bo. Kalamalai. Shila Mokolila. Al boy. Ilabai. Labalakulo. They don't want you talking in your native tongue to them. Yeah? Nabalabala, because they can't talk back. It's like horse. It's like horse. You know what I'm saying? Kalapalu. You know, due process of law is the game of horse. You know what I'm saying? You provide this, because we can provide it. You know what I'm saying? You can't meet us in the game. If you spell the horse, you out. You take the horsey out. Matter of fact, no. You take the old route. By foot. You know what I'm saying? Ain't that something? The neutralities is for them, not for us. It's because we getting back in proper persona. Yetabakoi. Kalabako. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's restoration. It's restoration. You know what I'm saying? It's restoration. It's dedication. You know, you give praises to the Most High. You give praises to the Most High. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, we had to look into self. We got to look at what was lost over here. And I promise you, you're going to start seeing stuff. It's like going to be like an open portal. You're not even going to be able to, like, it's going to be so much stuff that you got to go back. Like, I got to go back. I didn't even get to look through all the books today. I wouldn't have left. You know what I mean? And I'm going back because I got to go look into the historical archives in Okakalaki. And so now you got to observe this too. I call it before I see it. What they're going to do is they're going to observe the books that you're pulling off the shelf, and then when you go back, they're going to pull it away from you. They're going to pull it away from you, and that's deception. That's deception. You know what I mean? You make those observations. You make them observations. Like, man, they had some stuff over there. They had some stuff over there. And again, like, you know, uh, they used to burn our books. They used to put our books in the river so we couldn't tie our lineage back. But there's so much documents out here that they literally cannot do that with every book because they needed it too. You know what I'm saying? Literally, that's what the historians, they needed this information too, so that they could tell the truth. That's what the secret destiny of America is. That's what Manly P. Halls, that's what they did. That's what Jack Weatherford is doing. You know what I mean? Because not everybody got unjust hearts. You know, it's actually, look up the Pope's apology to Barack H. Obama. You know what I'm saying? So everybody out here is not moving on that draconian, what, like, hoes say the laws are draconian, man. And they really, if you decode Hove on NBC or whatever it is, you decoding the Matrix. You know what I mean? So now it's like they telling on themselves on CNN. Pay close attention. Hove did that. So, you know, so it's like, yeah, man, you give praises to the Most High. You give praises to the Most High. You give praises to the Most High. I'm going to keep saying it. When you at your lowest moments, you give praises to the Most High. And you never give up the fight, ever. You know, I know y'all can look at me and see the pain in my eyes. It hurts. Breaking generational curses hurts. It hurts because it may turn you against your family. You know what I mean? It may turn you against your close friends. People may start looking at you different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been dealing with this for over 5 years now. When I was in a secure system, I had fans, I had support, I had friends, I had family. Everybody loved me. But as soon as I started saying no more suits, people started distancing themselves from me. As soon as I started growing my hair out, people started looking at me funny. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I stood on my square, people started getting upset with me. You know what I mean? When you stand on your divine square, they gonna look at you like you stole the baby milk. Like you the evil one. You know what I mean? That's it. And that's really where majority of my pain come from. And instead of people asking, you know, how are you healing? You know what I mean? Or what can I do to help you heal? The only person that did that for me is in the heavens now. Since my mother, of course, and that's Tamari. She had this gift where she could grab my hand and read everything that I was going through. And she could see right through me and see my soul. And she gave me so much wisdom. She was a leak of wisdom. And when she was battling in her worst days, she called to check on me to see how I was doing. Do you know? I didn't call her to check on her. She called me. You know what I mean? She called me to see how I was doing. Because even at her lowest, she was committed to me. When she saw that I lost my mom, me, You know what I mean? Like, we were so close. We knew what was coming. So we just prepared for it. Her whole household prepared for it. Now she's in the heavens. I have to connect to her. The moon was in Pisces when she transitioned. My phone was off, right? My phone was off for 3 weeks from the start of the year until the day after my birthday. Literally, the day after my birthday. So the day after New Year's to the day after my birthday, my phone was off. Could nobody reach me, even with the birthday calls and shit. I didn't get no. If you called me on my birthday, it was because my phone was off. It messed up on me. You know what I mean? And I just didn't care to get it fixed. So, the first person that texted me was my tari. Tamari. She said, "Tell me you're okay." And I couldn't text her back. I called her and we talked for hours. We talked for hours. She was the only one to know that something ain't right. She was the only person to know something ain't right. Let me call my son. Let me text my son. And I called her. I said, you the first person I talked to since I got this new phone. It's the first text message that came. Tamari. And she said to me, in the midst of everything else we talked about, she said, sit down and we're going to talk. That's what she said. She said, sit down, we're going to talk. Get comfortable. She said, you go through things, but you never get over it. Always remember that, son. I told her, I shared with her stuff that don't nobody else know about. She said, son, she said, find a day to go to the laundromat, and that'll be your laundromat day. To take your family to the laundromat. She said, I've been in that situation before. I ain't had a car. We didn't have a car until March. I couldn't go nowhere. I'm 3 states over. She's like, please let me see my son. Talking about Nasir. I brought my son to see her. 427. No matter what it took, we got there. And that was my last time seeing her. That was my Empress's first time seeing her. And they had been talking since the pandemic. My Empress sent her herbs, a whole cleanse. from our herbalist in Charleston, the Gullah Geechee. She took it and was posting results and sending me the results. And, everybody just thinks I'm just this crazy person. Like, no, I'm dealing with real pain. I still haven't even gotten over the loss of both of my grandfathers. And they've been deceased on average. Both of them have been deceased like 3.5 years now. 4.5. Jack was in 2017, and my grandfather, my father's dad, passed in 2019. And then I lost my cousin Curl, and my last time seeing my cousin Curl was at my grandfather's funeral in 2019. We walked across the cemetery together, me and Curl. I'm hurt. I don't know how to heal. I don't know how to heal. I'm just being real. The only way I know to heal is to look deep inside myself. To learn about the past. Learn about my ancestors here. In America. So you can't let nobody outside of you judge you. That's called fraud. And that's color of law. You know what I mean? Even your own family, you know what I mean? They expect you to be this, and you can't be this because you hurting. You know what I mean? And when you hurting, you liable to snap. And then when you snap, they distance themselves from you. They don't love you like how they used to. They don't love you for you. So, that's really what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? All I got is just me, my empathies, and my son. The only person that blessed us with a gift for our unborn child is a stranger with a kind heart. You know what I'm saying? A stranger with a kind heart. She seen us at the grocery store. Today a brother said, "Bless you, brother." You know what I'm saying? Just because he seen my empress was pregnant and holding my child, he said, "Bless you, bro." You know what I mean? I get love from people I don't even know. Nobody has called me and asked me if I need anything because they think I'm stubborn and I'm hard to talk to. So therefore I'm isolated. And I take pride in it. You know what I mean? I take pride in it. I take care of my family. You know what I'm saying? I make sure that my family has food, shelter, clothing. I know one thing, if them matriarchs who is in them heavens was on earth, they all would be happy for me. They all would be happy for me. You know what I mean? From my Aunt Christina, you know what I'm saying, who transitioned a week after my tie and a week before my cousin Curl. If Curl was here, you know what I mean, her son is in this same state. This is one of the best places they let her come. She would text me like, "Yo, you trying to go to Gatlinburg?" You know what I mean? Curl was born a day before me. Matadi. These are things that we would talk about. She would tell me and remind me of how blessed I am. And don't get caught up in all the negative. But focus on the positive. Yeah. So no matter what God did, you know, my dear mother, oh my dear mother. You know, this sun shining near where, you know, the moon was at when my mother was born. And she be giving me so many different signs. She be coming to me in the weirdest ways. Like one time my mother came to me in the cardinal. I said, Dadel. She said, chirp, chirp. I said, Dadel. She said, chirp, chirp, chirp. One time she came to me in the stars, and she showed me, this is before my son was born. My son was essentially, the fetus was her, it was my mother's face, and the fetus was her brain. The brain was in the shape of a fetus, and the stars. I can't make this up. I can't make it up. On the day that she got honored in the church, in Saint Pata, and shalom me. So yeah, man, you know, I guess I gotta write a book about my journey. You know, you gotta embrace the journey, love the journey. You know, and despite it all, despite all of this pain, this hurt, you know what I'm saying, the wins, the losses, me books touched down in the ATL upon yesterday. Shalom.